Hello, everyone. Welcome to English Through Stories. Today we will listen to a simple and inspiring story called The Young Engineer's First Project. Let's begin. David was a young engineer. He had just graduated from university and got his first job at a construction company. David was excited, but he was also nervous. It was his first week at work. One morning, his manager called him into the office. "David, I have a project for you," said the manager. "We're building a small bridge in a rural area. I want you to visit the site and prepare a report." David was surprised. He thought he would spend months doing paperwork before getting a real project. But now, he had an important task. The next day, David traveled to the construction site. The bridge was located in a small village surrounded by farms and rivers. When he arrived, he met the site supervisor. The supervisor showed him around and explained the project. Everything seemed normal at first. However, David noticed something unusual. There was water collecting near one side of the foundation. The workers did not seem worried about it. But David remembered something from university. Water could weaken the soil and affect the stability of the structure. He spent the entire afternoon checking the area and taking measurements. That evening, he reviewed all his notes. The more he studied the information, the more concerned he became. The next morning, David called his manager. "I think there may be a problem with the foundation," he said. His manager listened carefully. "Are you sure?" he asked. David was nervous. This was his first project. What if he was wrong? But he trusted his observations. "Yes," he replied. "I believe we should investigate further." The company decided to perform additional testing. A few days later, the results confirmed David's concern. Part of the soil was weaker than expected. If construction had continued without changes, the bridge could have experienced serious problems in the future. The design was adjusted and the foundation was strengthened. The project continued successfully. Several months later, the bridge was completed. The village celebrated its opening. People could now travel more easily between the two sides of the river. David stood on the bridge and smiled. He felt proud. Not because he was an engineer, but because he had the courage to speak up when he saw a problem. That experience taught him an important lesson. Knowledge is valuable, but confidence and responsibility are equally important. From that day on, David always remembered, a good engineer does not simply follow instructions. A good engineer pays attention, thinks carefully, and protects the people who will use the structure. Vocabulary Review Foundation, the base of a structure. Measurement, the act of checking size, distance, or quantity. Concerned, worried about something. Investigate, to examine carefully. Stability, the ability to remain strong and balanced. Courage, the ability to do something difficult or scary. Moral of the story: sometimes one small observation can prevent a big problem. Always trust your knowledge, pay attention to details, and have the courage to speak when something doesn't seem right.